You just closed the sale of a highly appreciated asset. Now you are holding a large sum of deferred capital gains, and the clock is ticking. Under IRS Section 131, you have exactly 45 days to identify a replacement property and 180 days to close. This chart compares your typical options: suburban single-family rentals, yielding a safe but slow 4 to 5%, next to urban short-term rentals, generating 8 to 12% or more. Look at that stark gap. It is tempting to chase those double-digit arbitrage yields to maximize your deployed capital. Mapping out the standard acquisition path for a residential short-term rental reveals a significant obstacle. In most urban centers, operating a high-yield Airbnb legally requires securing a conditional use permit. Getting that permit requires a hearing with the Board of Zoning Adjustment. That process easily takes 90 days. If you are trying to execute a 1031 exchange, waiting on a municipal board breaks your 180-day timeline. If you miss that strict IRS deadline, waiting on city bureaucracy, you immediately trigger a massive, unavoidable tax liability on your capital gains. A high projected yield means nothing if you can't close in time. Success in this scenario requires a property that permits immediate operation by right, removing the need for municipal permission. That brings us to 1256 South 3rd Street, a historic stone mansion in Old Louisville that offers a specific turnkey solution to the 1031 timeline. The rare mixed commercial and residential zoning on this property serves as its primary investment differentiator. This quadrant chart plots regulatory restriction against revenue potential. Because of its commercial designation, 1256 South 3rd Street sits in the high-revenue, low-restriction zone. It operates as a short-term rental by right, bypassing Louisville's strict 600-foot residential buffer and avoiding those timeline-killing zoning hearings. Securing this execution certainty comes with a trade-off. You are committing to managing an active hospitality business in a busy urban corridor, rather than passively holding a low-risk suburban property. However, that commercial status insulates your asset. Even if local ordinances tighten their grip on residential Airbnbs in the future, your operating rights remain protected. The $1.15 million purchase price reflects both the physical real estate and the mitigation of 1031 execution risk. Let's look at the physical footprint to understand exactly what that $1.15 million acquires. This matrix maps out the square footage across the dual structure layout. You get a massive 6,100 square foot main mansion paired with a fully renovated 1,543 square foot carriage house in the back. The sheer scale provides immense capacity, offering 9 bedrooms and 6 full bathrooms across the compound. Deploying your capital here allows you to satisfy a substantial 1031 exchange requirement in one unified, immediate transaction. The trade-off is concentration. Instead of spreading your risk across a diversified, multi-door portfolio, you are locking your funds into a single 1884 historic structure that will demand heavy, ongoing maintenance. Because the home sits in an Old Louisville preservation district, any exterior repairs require strict, often costly, historic material matching to remain compliant. You secure immediate capital deployment to save your tax-advantaged status, but you must be prepared to absorb significant, concentrated historic maintenance risk. To see if that maintenance risk pays off, we have to underwrite the asset's gross revenue potential as an institutional-grade short-term rental. This ledger tracks projected income. Baseline rates generate roughly $660 nightly. The real engine is event pricing. During the Derby, rates spiked to $2,000, driving annual revenue shortly up. But a hidden threat remains: post-sale property tax reassessment. The seller's current property taxes are based on a much lower prior assessment. Underwriting taxes at your future $1.15 million purchase price will reduce your projected net operating income by roughly $7,000 annually. Capturing those peak event rates is absolutely non-negotiable to offset this new, heavier tax burden. To survive the reassessment shock and hit your yield targets, you will be entirely dependent on premium, highly active local property management to secure the 5-star reviews and event bookings required to keep the ledger in the black. This brings us to the scenario match, determining exactly who this specialized financial tool is actually built for. It is ideal for out-of-state syndicators or investors trapped deep in their 45-day identification window who urgently need to deploy over $1 million legally and quickly. This exact buyer must be completely comfortable delegating to a premium third-party management team to harvest aggressive hospitality yields. You should avoid this property entirely if you are a budget-conscious investor worried about historic property capital expenditures, or if you are seeking a truly passive, hands-off income stream. If this asset fits your timeline and risk profile, here are your immediate next action steps. Contact the listing agent, Michael Mawood, reference MLS number 1715555, and secure the property disclosures before your 1031 identification deadline expires. 1256 South 3rd Street functions as a rare alignment of zoning and timing that happens to solve the exact constraints of a high-stakes 1031 exchange.